Alright, it's the Casual Times podcast. We're on the radio at 97.3, and that's a lie. We're not on the radio, it's the election special. We're going to talk about crazy politics first, aren't we?
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
Nothing.
You've no truck with politics?
No what?
No truck with any politics at all?
No truck.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
No. Have you heard this phrase?
Blowing a man's mind.
yeah, I just have no idea what you're on about.
I think you spend too much time in the country, bro.
It's bad shit, man. It's bad shit, but it's not as bad as the state of politics at the minute.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Where would you like to begin?
Where do you begin, right?
Well, for starters, just for relevance on some of the information so people can't come back on us, what's the date today of today's recording?
The date of the recording is the 16th of November.
So this is how up to date we are with current things.
This is how up to date we are. Right, so, first off, we've got an election on December the 12th, right? Which is 21 backwards. Right? So it's kind of like it's happening on the solstice, even though it's not.
We're going right in there then.
We're going right in there, so it's like really auspicious. So like we've got a chance for possibly radical change, or possibly all sort of conservative austerity for another 4 years. Either we're going to have a political revolution where somebody who's different to the establishment is going to be in parliament, in power, and they're going to change structures, hopefully. You know,
like
that's what he's saying. Like, well, yeah, that's one potential thing that could happen, like a political revolution. But if we don't get that, I think there needs to be more climate protest, more, kinds of direct action that sort of push against the state.
The thing is, when you say that, because of what the policies that the Conservatives have put out for this particular general election, they've only just started recently actually stating off some of the things in combat to, say, Labour, because Labour, when they've come out under the initiation of the stuff of the general election, they've been canvassing, they're going door to door and stuff, you see things flagging up everywhere. More on, like, they're just hitting out about policies and everything else, everything that they're basically saying, this is what we're putting on our manifesto.
They're out there working, they're out there doing a campaign.
The Conservatives have got called out for the fact that they have already pumped £1.2 million into advertising, which was specifically and directly aimed at just spinning on fucking Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, that's a huge budget.
Where you say, instead of actually doing the work of going and approaching people in the localities and stuff and actually trying to sell something real, they have nothing real to sell because what they're trying to aim for, they're already in the midst of trying to sort out, and they don't particularly want to tell people that.
No, and they don't want to go and see real fucking people, because when Boris goes to see people are pretty fucked up at him. Like, everywhere he goes, everyone's like, fuck you. And it's the Prime Minister, and you're seeing people of like an older generation who were like super respectful of like the tradition of it's the Prime Minister, he's got status, shit like that. And they're just like, he went to talk to this guy where it was flooded around Fish Lake somewhere when he got there. And he was like, can I do anything for you? And he went, no. And he was like, oh, what's your... And he was like, no, thank you. And just walked off, like, wouldn't look at him in the eye and shit.
There was a month ago, he was in somewhere in Yorkshire, and this was well before the flooding, and there's a video clip of him walking through a town centre, and some guy's walking past, he walks up to him, he shakes his hand and goes, can you leave my town, please? Like, just tells him to get out, just in passing. Yeah. And he's just, as he's walking off, he's just like, don't worry, we'll be going soon.
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that.
He's fucking...
He's not liked, mate. They've fucked up, they've done it wrong. Running Boris was the wrong idea. Like, they got rid of Theresa May, and they're like, right, we're going to get someone else in, and they're going to... And then someone was like, what about Boris? And they all should have said no.
I genuinely think the reason why Boris Johnson is the one who they put forwards from the Tory party is because when you've looked at Jeremy Cunt, they've been hit with a situation where he would have fought back against what the majority of them wanted to push forwards from the... Whereas Boris Johnson was probably in line with the main thing that the majority of like the Tory Illuminati were already planning to push forwards on.
He got called a cunt so many times, that guy, didn't he, on the telly?
It still
happens, always happens.
What I don't understand as well is how blindsided most people are about a lot of the things to do with Boris Johnson. When I was speaking to a Sparky,
yeah,
and Brexit came up and about, I think.
Oh no, danger.
Because we're going on about something or other, and his face wears out his mouth. He's like, "Oh yeah, well, you know, we're better off with Boris Johnson rather than flipping that clown Jeremy Corbyn
Oh
who
my
just
God.
ruined the country." And I'm like, "You're just bleeding off headline shit from the Daily Star and the
Yeah.
Sun and stuff. Who
What
are paid
policy
for?"
do you disagree with? You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, they don't have any. They're just literally going off the media who are paid for by the Tories. They're just regurgitating shit that's been put out as a smear campaign, which is all they've done is constantly funnel money into the smear campaign, and that's their aim. That's their policy. The only thing they don't want Jeremy Corbyn or any other party in power right now because they want to tip the scales. They want to shut the borders off to the EU, remove us out of fucking the safety net. They want to crash the economy. They want to buy out everything while it's cheap. Them and the friends, their elitist friends, and then afterwards, as the economy's improving, by which stage they'll have done a trade deal with the fucking Americans.
carving up the NHS.
NHS is gone.
Yeah.
We're all screwed we're all screwed to hell.
And when this NHS comes up recently, what's their official response? It's like, oh, this just shows how dangerous Corbyn would be in government.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You've been in government for a decade. You know what I mean? Like, you're responsible for the NHS. If it's doing really badly, that's largely your fault because you're the government and it's a government-run.
Apparently, it's kind of a renowned. It's been like an undertone, an underlying thing that's been bouncing around that most people that work under the NHS ended up voting in the referendum to leave the EU just primarily off that information you put out about saying the 600 million a week to the EU goes to the NHS.
Yeah, because if you're a swing voter on that, you're like, well, all right, then let's leave.
Yeah, and that's your job that you're voting for at that point. But then to afterwards be like, whoa, so
It is a big...
That's not happening.
Well,
Yeah.
Who knows if it'll happen?
We're gonna lose the NHS if we lose. If Labour don't, if basically if the Tories win the majority in this next election to do one of these fucking coup d'états and try and pull another party in to get a majority, they're gonna do all this shit and screw everything up. If Labour get in, or at least Labour holds the majority with their own little troop with the Lib Dems or whatever.
Not the Lib Dems, please.
Well, no, I sort of think they're going to be a lot more well balanced when fucking if they're having to share stuff off with the Tories.
I think I would like to see Labour, Plaid, SNP, and maybe Greens, and I think that could be enough numbers.
Yeah, but that's just because you're a fucking hippie.
Yeah, but I think, and then give devolved powers to Wales and Scotland.
Yeah.
And really, you'd have to include the DUP as well if they got elected again and they were on board with joining in. Have devolved powers for all the different things under a Labour coalition government that represents the entirety of the UK, you know. That'd be kind of groovy. I'd rather a Labour majority.
The Labour majority resolved the issue entirely.
Yeah.
You know what kind of confuses me off about is all this anti-Semitism that keeps coming out about Labour all the time, because it seems mindless to me. I can't understand where... Fair enough, there might have been a couple of people within the Labour Party that are anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
But when you compare the anti-Semitism against the anti-Islam or the Islamophobia that comes from the Conservatives constantly and has been doing for over a decade now, and is very broad, no one's called them out on it, but it's allowed because of all this terrorist activity at the moment.
And the Conservatives have equally as well, like percentage-wise of the Conservatives and the membership, they have equally as bad problems with anti-Semitism as the Labour Party. You know, it is rife in some parts of society. Racism in general is rife. But like the Labour Party, it's more so under Jeremy Corbyn, really, than like his predecessors like Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. Like in a more radical sense, is hippie-ish.
Yeah. What I did find interesting, which I'm hoping is going to be something that's going to completely collapse the manifold. Tommy Robinson throwing his 2 cents out about things. The fact that he's proud of everything that Farage and Boris Johnson have achieved in telling people to now specifically vote for the Conservatives.
Mm.
When you've got Tommy, is it Tommy Robinson his name?
Yeah,
his,
Stephen Yaxley. Yeah.
Fucking him as your poster boy for that the benign class area of the United Kingdom, who are the fucking gangly, waste of space, drain of society, fucking gnarly, racist, fucking rough pricks that support him and fucking hail him as a hero. Ugh. It's annoying to think because he's come out and he's now in the public making these statements about certain things. That makes him he's dangerous because he has this following behind him by all these idiots who also then are more like. It's kind of like the supporters of people like Tommy Robinson, the MP and such, are like offshoot conservatives. The stereotype of your conservative is Boris Johnson, Rees-Mogg.
Yeah.
And when you look at them, I can only half imagine the fact that Rees-Mogg is a very undertone racist.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? You can't really say, legally.
Well, look
but,
at what Boris Johnson's like, considering he publicly referred to black people as pickaninnies.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jacob Rees-Mogg has probably made some unsavoury comments about slavery or something. And I mean, we know they're unsavoury characters, whether it's racism or classism. You know what Jacob Rees-Mogg thinks about peasants.
He said something not that long ago and he got publicly fucking called out on it and had to fucking apologise. I can't remember what it was.
It was the Grenfell Fire thing, wasn't it?
Yes,
He said, I would have gotten out because I have common sense.
But the man... These are the people you've got in charge. These are the people who are at the higher echelon of these parties, who are the main decision makers of this country. Primarily now more so than ever, being that the Conservatives are the main leading party in power.
Without a majority, though.
But still, you've got Ben. Yeah, it's a godsend that they haven't got majority for those particular reasons. We've got people like that who are so fucking. Rees-Mogg has his fucking nanny still. Childhood nanny, for fuck's sake. The man's not even fucking capable. Oh, he angers me thinking about it.
Rees-Mogg, right, if you look at how he walks and how he holds himself, he is definitely an alien.
He's an over-entitled fucking cunt. Stuck up for it. And the thing is, obviously it's a bit of a gnarly turn to go this drastic on him, but you just look at him, but he's just a fucking stuck up for it. You get the reading off him just looking at him when he talks. He's like fucking...
I tell you what, though, he does possess wit. Like, he has made me chuckle a few times when I've watched him in Parliament. Like, he says something, I've been like, oh, well, that is technically a clever and funny little joke that you've done there.
Well, yeah, but then you could give him credit for being crass, like he's the fucking parliamentary rebel where he's chilling out on the benches and stuff during like during debates and things. Like he's just Mr. Don't Give a Shit.
That does seem like two different characters, doesn't it? But I think the lying down is a dominance thing.
Yeah,
I think he's like, look, I'm in the Houses of Parliament and I'm lying down because I'm better than all of this.
JRM, Thug Life.
You should drop a rap album, 100%. Oh, here I am. 1 to the 2.
Christ, man.
It'd be bad rap.
It'd be like somebody like Cassette Boy did. Has already done something on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe he should try acid. I think that'd really help him out. You know, it's legal in Oakland and Denver.
Man still has a nanny. I don't think he'd be able to mentally take anything to fucking meet.
Well, I think once he was there.
You're talking he's a trust fund child that lives in a manor in fucking Somerset.
He might have a bit of a freak out, but, you know, if you had someone there to say, it's alright, Jacob Rees-Mogg, don't worry, just pretend it's a religious experience.
Maybe all we need to look for the government is just flood the water lines with LSD and just catch enough of them off guard there.
Yeah, probably just going to have to cut that. What we need to do is we don't give a fuck when it's bombing civilians in fucking Yemen. You know what I mean? Or sacrificing the homeless on the altar of austerity. But, yeah.
That's quite like sticking a knife in there. Sacrificing the homeless on the altar of austerity.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's happening, man.
Deep, man.
The homeless, the mentally ill, you know, the disabled. Horrific shit. The UN called it horrific shit, you know, when they they came over to England, they had a look around and they were like, that is horrific.
Well, if the anti-Semitism wasn't on Labour right now, you could practically point the finger at the Conservatives for being fucking the Nazi party.
Well, you certainly could, but you give me a heart attack. Imagine that. The Nazi party. It is like a pretty interesting moment in history. Like, it could go very left or very right. And it depends on a vote. It could go very authoritarian, or it could go more liberal, like states in America that have decriminalised certain things.
To be fair, it would make more sense if they could put control back more into the hands of councils. Fair enough, maybe. But then you've got that.
Yeah.
But then you've got that issue of people will then particularly and specifically move to immediate areas of.
Well, I mean,
certain things.
is that a good thing for like people who've got certain skills? You want to be somewhere that's renowned for that to be able to go there, but it is leaving home on the other side.
Blackpool has a known issue of joblessness and problems with, in theory, overpopulation because there isn't the jobs to spread around with things, and that's primarily caused by a lot of people that move here under the idea that they're going to get a better life.
Yeah, which if you look at any statistics, they'll tell you no.
Yeah.
No.
But it's why you get a lot of out-of-towners that move, like they move to Blackpool, just for that particular reason, because they're under the impression that, it's like, oh, you're a seaside resort, it must be all this work for, 7 months of the year.
Yeah.
And then it's down, you're either jobless or you're lucky enough to find somewhere else to carry you over winter.
Yeah, and what do you do about rent in that situation, you know what I mean?
So
if your job's just gone, well, you gotta suck a dick, man.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, landlord, I can't afford my rent today. Well, we can sort it out.
Let me get.
It's shocking, though, to think that we're back in this stage again where, and you'd think people would catch on by now, with just by the obviousness when you've got a party that's sat there and you've got, they're putting the shit out as generally as you would do, and the other parties, only the immediate approach to what they're going to do to try and win the election is just be like, they're all bastards. They're just bastards. You need to hate them for this and that and everything else. You're like, oh, well, what are you going to do if you get back in power? They're bastards. We're gonna not be them bastards.
Yeah, and they're not going around and seeing people at all.
You can kind of tell as well from how Boris Johnson is compared to Jeremy Corbyn in their different approaches as leaders of the party that when Labour went to Yorkshire and stuff, they got offered when they went to Yorkshire following the floods and stuff. Jeremy Corbyn's going on about we'll look at we're going to invest this much into flood defences and stuff. Given the fact he was already calling out issues with the Conservatives not sending aid quick enough to Yorkshire, because I believe he said that if it was Surrey it had happened, the day it had happened, they'd have had the army out, but because it wasn't Surrey it happened in, which Jason within Jason Rees-Mogg's fucking constituency, I think. I don't know. It's that area of the country, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it near Somerset?
Yeah, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Somerset, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
But
I was born in Somerset. Watch out.
But anyway.
Tread carefully, sir.
Oh yeah, you hail from the same land as that scumbag.
Maybe I do occasionally find him humorous though. You'll say something, I'm like, ha, that was a joke. That
fucking Somersetians.
I know, it's bad.
But he's
the devil. He is the devil. Definitely a reptilian.
But while
just the way his shoulders, and he's got like a bit of an elongated head, like you see on the Egyptian pharaoh things. He's got that. He's got a bit of a xenomorph shape to him, the way his shoulders are and shit. You gotta shout, man. You gotta see how they clap. If they can't clap, they're definitely a lizard. Like if you ever seen Michael Gove clap?
No.
You should look at the GIF at some point. It's good. He's just sort of like, because they're not used to the human body. They've not fully. Doesn't quite fit. They don't walk right.
This just went off on a very severe.
It's not real. It's not real.
Right, so we're going down the Alex Jones degree of stuff now.
Yeah, but
you strip your
reptilian.
top off and start screaming.
Reptilian can be code though, for like a group of people who run the world, can't it?
It can be, but
The cunts, the cunts.
yeah.
The ones like the people making loads of money off big oil and holding humanity back and shit.
No, they just all suffer from dragon sickness.
Exactly, they've got the dragon sickness because they're reptilians, you see.
The ones where the votes don't count.
The ones where the votes don't count. The ones where you vote for somebody and then there's some other people who just go, well, I'm still here.
Yeah.
For 100 years or more if I'm a dragon. Yes.
But anyway, back to Yorkshire and stuff.
Back to Yorkshire and the good old UK.
While Jeremy Corbyn was out and saying about all these things, I'm going to put money into flood barriers, flood protection and such. Boris Johnson, when he went down to flood affected areas and people are asking him certain things, and all he was coming out with saying he's pumping like 1 point something billion into research and development, not specifically detailing what it was he was putting that into, what apparently was only there to actually visit an electric car factory. So I'm assuming that's where he's probably pumping his investment to.
Of course.
But the way
Got to
that-
make some money on the campaign trail, you
the
know.
way politicians work is they say something and then they go, "Oh, I said you said you were going to do this for research and development into flood barriers." You're like, when did I say that?
Yeah.
And it's, we've got it on video, but you go, "I was there to visit this factory. That's why." I didn't lie. You
You
just
go,
misconstrued where I pointed it.
Just stop playing that on the TV, Trevor.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's still playing this on the television. We've got an arrangement. Make it go.
Twist.
Yeah.
What do you think about the corruption between the government and the media? Or the state and the media? The bad guys in the media? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
We can all relate to it.
It's been the same for as long as society's existed, hasn't it? Really. So
In
it's
In some places,
probably
you
always
know.
going to be there.
Some places, yes. Some
No
places,
amount of
no.
votes are going to change it.
You've got like good communities of like 100, 150 people with relative autonomy. Always. You've got big civilization. You probably, you know, the more you go forward as a civilization, the more you encounter that as a thing. Like someone starts trying to like climb to the top of it, and
I think the issue generally just tends to be that it's just whoever's in power of the said situation, they will want to put forward whatever it is they want to do. There's always going to be somebody beneath them that's not going to like that. There's always, no matter how good of an idea your thing is, there's always going to be something that somebody's pissed off with it, who will then go out of the way to undermine you just to overthrow you so then they can get into power. And the same thing rinses and repeats. The only problem is that the people doing the dick moves tend to suddenly have more control for a longer period of time because they're better at bullshitting people. Or more people following with enough of their little sub-beliefs that they go, "Oh yeah, I'm comfortable like being behind these people. They don't make the best decisions sometimes, but they're better than those other ones."
Yeah, they're better at playing society.
Yeah, it's fucking... That's the rinse and repeat thing. I suppose in a situation with Labour at the moment, it could be that twist and turn, but if you, as is already showing out, especially with shit like this whole thing where Theresa May ended up calling an election and they still fucking won. They can somehow swing, like the Conservatives, because they got control of the media, have the ability to create that swing.
yeah, you got 2 years of new voters though coming in as well, who also don't trust the media too much.
Yeah, I suppose
least in
they
the
followed
majority.
in during this whole Brexit period.
Well, I mean, since 2000, like just old enough to vote people, there's 2 million more, and loads of young people are signing up to vote because they're like, fuck these cunts.
Labour's actually managed to put a knock on the nail on the head with the young vote from what
Yeah.
I've seen, because they've like the most immediate thing they've done is gone out canvassing and got young voters to be the ones that are more involved in it, because there's some of the stuff they're voting out, like advertising and stuff, has been towards, come canvass with us, if it's your first time, this is how to do it, do your stories on Instagram and things like that, show people that you're out canvassing, take a couple of mates out with you, sign up to this, and then you'll be invited out to come canvass with people who know what they're doing, so then you're not on your own, you're not out in the blue, and you learn and track stuff. I don't see the Conservatives doing stuff like that.
No.
They just send shit out in the post.
Yeah, what have they promised for the youth? Have they done something with... They've not promised anything on education yet, have they? Like Labour's on about this National Education Service. The Conservatives haven't really piped up a word about.
Yeah, as far as I can recall, I've not seen anything from as far as a manifesto up to now from the
No.
Conservatives.
Labour manifesto's being debated right now, possibly been announced, who knows, probably not yet.
But yeah, and Conservatives are holding all the shit back, and I imagine that is immediately because they're just waiting to see what Labour's throwing on the table so they can try and undermine it, because they don't have a plan moving forwards.
Whereas Labour, I think, are going, what would be a good manifesto?
They just want to get Brexit started, because that's a Conservative plan, is only going to fall into place after that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, but we are approaching the EU tax directives in January, aren't we? So once January hits, the Conservatives are going to be in a pretty difficult spot, probably. Or at least some of them may well be. I don't know exactly anything legally about that.
All of it as well is a lot of confusion about, because of Labour's the manifesto, like the policies. There's a lot of uproar about things, because all the shit that people are again regurgitating is stuff from the newspapers and things and read, like, oh, it's unaffordable, it can't be done with this and that. But most of the things, like, free education, 4-day week things. Some of them are a bit, ridiculous and a bit like more unrealistic, as far as you'd expect. But not every single thing they put forward is something that's already been implemented in other countries.
Yeah, in some of the Nordic countries, especially.
No, is it Norway?
Yeah.
Free education completely.
For anyone, you don't even have to live there. You can go there as an immigrant
Yeah.
and get a free education, and then go back to your. You could like the visa process. I believe is pretty straightforward, and you get a free education.
Like areas of the Netherlands
Yeah.
have implemented the 4-day week, things like that.
Yeah.
Other stuff like that. It's just when I was looking at it, and something popped up on Instagram. I looked down on the things listed off, and I'm going to look down the comments. And at that point, before I go back and re-troll trolls, I go on Google and go, probably just going to fact check myself. So you Google the specific information, you're like, has this been done in such and such a place and such and like. It's like kind of like saying. But when I've argued back with people, they've said to me, oh, well, just because it's worked in one country doesn't mean it'll work in every country. But I imagine the idea of free healthcare to the Americans seems very unrealistic because that's nothing they've ever had.
Yeah.
We're looking at a 4-day week that another country has, and we're going, how the hell can you remove a day out of the week? How's that going to work and financially balance the things? But the Americans are going to be like, well, how's free healthcare work then? You just turn up to the hospital and you're not charged. Where does the bill go and stuff?
When's the American elections? That's going to be Brexit, the sequel, part 2.
November the 3rd, 2020.
Oh shit, that's a long time away.
Yeah, I reckon hopefully they're going to give him a boot before then.
But yeah, but if he survives impeachment,
he's stirring up enough shit as it is, man, because he's fucking going on about how like Farage and the Conservatives are going to be the best thing for the country.
Yeah.
Just because he wants them in the back pocket.
But I think that, to a degree, is the machine eating itself. People are going, no. You know what I mean? I think more people than ever, really, because of the internet, are aware of the way government runs. Like, people have known not to trust the government since...
Pretty much since government became a government, yeah.
But I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people now who are like, no, none of that.
Well, it's just a bunch of like snobby frat boys, isn't it?
It is, but they've got like their hands a little bit on
lives, mate.
On a steering wheel, you know.
All it
that's
takes
the thing.
is for the right.
We need them
person.
out.
All it takes is the right person to just manage to climb the ladder to break the wheel.
Yes, sir.
It's possible because that's what Jeremy Corbyn is. There wouldn't be so much hate towards him.
Yeah, exactly.
If he wasn't a threat.
Yeah, I worry though because like I fell for Obama. I thought Obama was gonna bring change, but he was still a cunt. He was the same as the rest of them. He was of the same thing.
If Hillary Clinton had got into power,
oh my god, that would have been much worse.
They'd have gone back into war again.
Yeah, shit. Well, they were at war loads under Obama.
There was a thing that came out that Hillary Clinton said during a meeting that she was trying to argue a case there when Julian Assange was in the Ecuadorian embassy when he was making he was doing something off a balcony. She was trying to argue on a case of firing a Predator missile from a drone into the centre of the fucking city of London. Not the city of London, the city of Westminster.
Yeah. Not the.
While there's shitloads of public there, while a man's making an address on the side of a building. That was a possible presidential candidate of what's supposed to be considered the country's greatest ally, and that woman nearly got into power.
Yeah.
I only say that woman because
she
specified the difference between her and Trump on the situation. Well, no, again, I don't know.
But I mean, do reptilians even have gender? You know, I don't know.
As it is anyway, she's got fucking ties in with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my god.
I still think
this is an election special. Let's not.
Oh god, yeah, we'll leave that for another one. I've got time for that Epstein stuff, man. Oh.
It's the worst, mate. It's the worst. The worst.
Always.
Was he swapped out? We'll find out another time. Back to Brexit. Brexit Part 1.
I'm hoping that there's something that's just going to drag out to the case. It's just going to be just continuation after continuation of them just delaying everything because nothing can get worked out, and it's going to be like that for a couple of years.
Do you reckon?
Nothing's going to end up happening. They're just
Under a
gonna,
Labour government or under
the Tories.
the Oh yeah, we can't have Tories.
Unless they win the majority in
Oh my
Parliament,
God.
there's no way they're physically going to get able to push through a no deal.
Well, they've got Brexit and Lib Dems. Well, they couldn't. Lib Dems wouldn't do no deal.
Though Lib Dems have already stated that they
But-
want to cancel Brexit.
Yeah, but in the last time the Lib Dems and the Tories, they were like, we won't do anything the Tories want to do. No, sir.
Well, it's,
No, sir. We're Liberal Democrats. We don't want to do any of that stuff.
yeah, it's just
And
because
then-
they are pulling that majority situation.
Yeah, and they didn't have enough numbers in the party to make a difference anyway,
Yeah.
so they couldn't stop anything. You know what I mean? So it's not like essentially their fault. But they said before the election that they were gonna do a bunch of shit or not do a bunch of shit.
In this situation, it's going to end up being a battle of the two parties, and people
Yeah.
are going to have to focus this. If I'd probably say if anyone's not going to vote Conservative, they need to just specifically direct their attention to Labour, because anybody else who's
Yeah.
going to protest anything against Labour is going to fuck themselves with the Conservatives if they're just going to be picky and be like, oh well, yeah, I would have voted for Labour, but I'm just going to vote for Greens instead. I can guarantee you the majority is going to get lost at that point, and the only way to coordinate it is people would have to vote for Labour, suffer the 4-year break just to
Yeah.
get past this stupid thing the Tories are trying to settle
Yeah.
in, and then go back to your allegiances.
Yeah, I think the
save
left.
yourselves.
I think the left are much more organised than the right in that regard. I think the sort of smaller parties will splinter off from the Tories. So the Lib Dem vote will be like centrist moderate Tories.
Yeah,
Like centrist moderate Remain Tories will gravitate towards that.
yeah,
Brexit Party, hard right Tories will gravitate towards that.
yeah.
Labour, I can't see definitely some Leave Labour voters, Leave supporting Labour voters would go to the Brexit Party, but I don't think a lot because it's Nigel Farage and it's the cunts, and it's a vote for the Tories because if you vote for them,
You are.
that's only in support of the Conservative
Yeah.
government. You know that's going to serve no other purpose than to prop up a Conservative government.
This is the thing, they called it Brexit Party, and well, that party is going to have no cause to exist in about after its first term.
Oh yeah, they're not a party, are they? They're a private business. They're registered as an LLC, not a political party.
All right.
The Brexit Party, which is an interesting modern development of a thing that you can do now.
I just hope to fucking. The only problem is they have people like Tommy Robinson behind the whole
Yeah.
situation, and Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage are in each other's
Yeah.
pockets as far as they are the exact same people.
And it's just UKIP. It's just UKIP have used Brexit to rename themselves.
Yeah.
And there's still another UKIP, but this is like a sector of UKIP. When Farage got votes in the EU elections, the MP
Yeah.
elections, they were all UKIP votes. UKIP used to have like something like 24% of the Euro MEP
Yeah.
population, and they went down to like 1, and the Brexit Party got like 27%. So it's like, you know, that's balanced out. It is UKIP. I can't see many on the left voting for UKIP in a fancy dress. So I think the bleed off to the smaller parties is going to affect the Tories worse than it is Labour.
Tommy Robinsonites will follow him like blindly
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the direction.
yeah.
He's currently pointing everyone to vote for the Conservatives.
Yeah,
I think the smaller parties are going to be looking smart at this one. If they've got any kind of minor allegiances to any of the major parties, they're going to have to point their voters to their major parties to try and get.
I think that'd be really good.
Because it's just going to have to be a 4-year wait period where whatever's either way, it's going to have to be Labour or Conservative. That's going to be the win or the kill.
Yeah, they're going to be the two biggest parties, for sure.
Yeah,
Like people, again, they voted for Brexit in the EU thingies, but in a general election, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
You're not getting, no, like I don't think they're going to get any votes.
Yeah.
Really. But I think the left is more mobile and organised, and Labour's just like you say, they're going out there, just doing the work, travelling around the country, speaking to people, speaking at events where people who want to can attend.
Yeah.
They've spent all the time prior to this being announced doing that same thing. You know, in the summer recess, Corbyn was just
Yeah.
out meeting people. I think we could get a majority in a Labour government. It wouldn't be easy, but
yeah. I suppose the
could
main
happen.
thing is they need to just try and clear up this crap with Jeremy Corbyn. Like, say,
I don't think I hope this there's an anti-Semitism investigation going on, isn't there,
Yeah.
into Labour. I really want that to hurry up because they're going to find out that it's a load of fucking bollocks in the majority.
Yeah.
It's really just compared to the general population, it's lower than the general population's containment of anti-Semites or people who hold racist views. You know, it's lower than the Conservatives.
Mm.
It might. I'd like to see the Lib Dem stats to compare it to. You know, I don't know the actual answer on that one, but
I imagine the stats are non-existent because the only ones that they have is the ones they made up for Labour. Just,
Labour's got a huge membership as well.
yeah.
Of people with really diverse views, and there is a line between. There's a line of debate between what's anti-Semitism and what's criticism of Israel's government. You know, there
Yeah.
is a line there.
I thought I check back occasionally on the old Jeremy Corbyn Instagram thing because I'm just like trying to. The things he posts up because it's more pure end rather than sort of like just proper slander stuff, like smear campaign stuff that's coming out of like the other parties.
Yeah, it's criticism of policy and
Just one thing is there's the last thing in Jeremy Corbyn's had posted up on his Instagram account. I'm flagging social media a lot, but this is how people get their information. You
Yeah.
know. And the last thing you put up was, if I was proposing the creation of our NHS today, the Conservatives would call it health communism.
word.
Yeah.
That's a powerful message as well. Powerful messaging from the media departments, I think. And very non-combative, you know. Like, say they're not going for smears and stuff, they're going for criticism of this is what we think is shit about the Tories, and this is what we're going to do that's different.
Yeah.
And they're not really addressing, like, personal digs at anybody in the party that much. Like, they're not bringing it up. They're not going, oh my god, look, the Conservatives said this, or...
There's a couple of things I have seen pop up where they've been like, yeah, you can't trust Boris Johnson for things. Obviously, there was the U-turn on the whole fracking thing.
Yeah.
Fracking was banned, and then a week later, Boris Johnson's come back saying, no, it's not.
No, it's just moratorium.
Yeah.
It's just temporary until the science can resolve how to predict earthquakes, and then we'll have it back. And it's like, you're going to break that premise, aren't you? You're going to allow it for something much more minor than that.
Well, 1.2 billion into research and development. Wait, actually, let me just check back on that, because I just want to double check the figure on that, just so I'm not coming out with shit.
Tell you what the worst thing with fracking is, everyone's like, we're gonna have all this local gas produced in the UK for the UK, and it'll be dead good for the environment. But they're gonna sell it to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna stay in the UK. Most of that gas, most of it's gonna be exported off because that's what you do when you've got loads of gas. But then again, it's all a big pyramid scheme, really, because they're not going to get loads of gas, and that entire part of the economy is just going to collapse at some point soon. AJ Lucas are already out begging shareholders for more money at the minute. Like, they're out there going, no, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. We just need more money, more money, more money. And it's not. They're just going to chase that as far as they can. And then the longer they chase it for, the bigger the impact on the greater economy when it fails, you know? It's a shame.
So I was just trying to see if I could find that figure for the thing. I can't
Oh shit, yeah, I forgot.
yeah.
No, that's good, it's like a live roving reporter of the internet.
I am just thinking though that I haven't seen the Conservative policies at all. I haven't looked so far this weekend. I'm just while we're in the measure of it, we're none of us know.
No, and you know, manifestos haven't been released yet. It'll be interesting though, when the Labour manifesto comes out and it's fully costed, how many people go, well, maybe I should have an actual look at the costing and see what they reckon. That big number will come back to bite the Tories in the arse. You know, and they're like, oh, it's going to cost $1 million billions for Labour's policy plans. I think that'll come bite them in the arse when they're like, no, it'll be less than half of that. You goddamn idiots.
Just having a look through now, and the only thing I can find about the the Tories policy manifesto coming out, so from 5 days ago. General election 2019, Conservatives set to delay manifesto launch until just 2 weeks before election day. It kind of says it all. They hadn't even had a backup plan.
Yeah,
for this.
since Boris has been in, the policy has just been avoid the media, avoid scrutiny, avoid people. Don't go and see people. They don't like you, you know, and they're just like avoiding actually addressing anything in the media. Boris Johnson isn't spending any
The
time.
amount of things he's ducked out of.
Yeah.
Conferences.
The whole thing's
and
getting cancelled.
TV
But we got,
debates.
oh my god, we've got such the good TV debates coming up though, haven't we? We've got like the 7 people debate. We've got the Jeremy Corbyn versus Boris debate. I really want to see the Corbyn versus Mogg debate.
I want to see if, to be fair, I want to see if Boris Johnson actually turns up.
If he doesn't, would that be too bad for his campaign for him to sustain?
I don't know if it's one of the things where they just have to deal with the back damage of it, because what's going to be worse, him not turning up or him turning up and just blubbering out something stupid.
Oh my god.
This is the man who he was in Burma as the foreign secretary and was heard on camera reciting some British poem that was about the Burmese. It was proper inappropriate, and started saying this thing out, or like, you know, like it was during this, like it was an event that the Burmese were like putting on as well and stuff. Like they were meeting somebody, I can't entirely remember, but the fact that he started reciting his like inappropriate poem about something like happened militaristic wise in Burma.
Oh.
the person he was with just had to kind of go, yeah, just start nudging him and be like, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, because they don't know, do they? Because they're
Yeah.
fucking idiots. It's madness. Absolute madness.
Too headstrong in this weird tin can idea of the fact that we're still in World War II Britain.
Yeah, like
Stiff upper lip, keep calm and carry on.
when really we're in the age of, well, the age of information now, but you know, for a long time we've been in the age of the worker, and it's been industrial activity, and that worker's been very much not compensated for what he's generated historically. Like somebody creams all that off the top. You don't get that in your wages, you know, it's not you don't get shareholding in the company that you work for back then at all. You do a little bit now, some companies do that. I think that's a good idea. And I think that's one of the discussed policies for Labour was if you've got over so many employees, then they're part shareholders. They have to have a profitable share in the company as well, which I think is smart because the worker does a lot of the work.
Yeah, so that if they're assisting with the business improving, they deserve to feel like get something back for it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's fair enough, like, say, fair enough, you don't want people still having shares after they've been fired and stuff, but I think that's why some companies already do it, where you have to wait there a minimum of like 2 years or something before like you're allowed shares in the company.
Yeah. Which, you know, is one way of trying out that idea and seeing what happens, but I think that's not a bad idea necessarily. I don't know.
I think you'd have to get more free access to it in the way of, you know, annual dividend, like an actual, like you've made the investment properly.
Yeah, you'd be able to cash it out somehow, but then you get less value, don't you? Like the lottery thing.
Well, yeah, it's more when you cash it back in, you're purchasing more shares.
Yeah.
Like, say if you buy...
if you could regulate...
You buy 2 shares in a company, and then every year you get X amount back on your dividend, and then you earn enough to buy, you know, 2 more shares, you then earn 4 shares, you then own 4 shares.
Yeah, and then you can keep one aside 1 year and...
Yeah, you can literally then just feed it back in constantly. Obviously, if suddenly the stock drops, then you lose your investment. But, you know, that's what investment, like...
Yeah, and then if you translate that to somebody who's got an absolute fuck ton of money, they can just do that en masse and they'll have a fuck ton more.
Yeah.
I read the other day that 600 aristocratic families, 600 families, like that's a lot of people. That's quite a large group of people, 600 families that are all the aristocracy of Britain. Their wealth has just a little bit more than doubled since the start of the financial crash in 2007, 2008. So while everyone else has been austerity, these 600 families have nearly doubled their wealth. To this huge volume, like billions, trillions, you know what I mean? Like, probably collectively it would be trillions.
Collectively, it's also not Brexit related. We've gone off topic again.
Yeah, but we're talking about the election, goddamn! It's the election special. It's not Brexit, god.
I'll bounce back to my previous rant on the fact that unless everybody bands together on one of the major parties,
Yeah.
there's not going to be a majority win on either side.
Yeah.
Because once you end up with this hung parliament shit, you end up with the same shit that's been happening for the last decade.
We've seen the difficulties of a party not being able to, even though it would have been disastrous or pretty bad if the Conservatives were able to get their way through Parliament.
Well, it's the thing, and then the fact is, when you've got these hung parliaments and they've had to make coalitions and stuff, none of the policies end up happening. So this is the reason why most politicians go forward going, this is what we'll do for the country. But because people don't, because there's, and to be fair, I suppose maybe it's the issue of having so much broad choice.
Yeah.
Because then the vote ends up spreading so far out that there isn't a majority for any particular party. It causes this shit to happen. To be fair, they should probably off-right this coalition stuff and then basically throw it out and go, right, maybe the two of these parties got 50% of the vote each in a certain way. If it's deadlock, put it back to the public then and go, right, these are your last two choices.
Yeah, that would be a way of doing it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can protest all they like at that point then and go, well, I refuse to vote. But then you can just...
No, put that as a second option on the election form. And then you don't have two elections. Put your vote and then your vote if there's no majority. So if there's no majority in Parliament, then your secondary vote is for Labour or Conservative.
Yeah, but then you'd have to immediately predict then that you know what that particular majority is going to be, because then that could throw a spanner in the works if for some reason everybody just voted Greens and...
No, you'd have to just choose the two parties with the most votes.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to preemptively do that.
Oh, you
wouldn't know the votes were there until...
It's going to be Labour and Conservative, isn't it? Or... Yeah, shit. So I found a way to do it then, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing, it'd be a setback thing, you know.
Technicalities, goddamn. Fucking read an engineering... not social engineering shit.
To be honest, I reckon it's gonna end up, there's gonna be an upset. It's gonna remain Conservative because there's too many people in the country that are getting the wool pulled over their eyes by things, because you forget that when it's not happening in your own physical circle of friends, a lot of people, their immediate opinions are dictated by headlines that they see on Facebook and everywhere else. Most of them won't have read won't have read articles, or they'll just in the headlines, and I'll immediately swung their opinion on something like dramatic or drastic or memes. Something is what's put in there, and it's the right are just a bit more heavily embedded in quashing out of shit.
I don't feel like the right is bigger in population size though.
Bigger, but they're better at manipulating.
Yeah, they're more active in that for sure.
When you stood there pointing the finger going, I'm true British, this man is a communist, socialist, anti-Semite thing, you're making him out like he's some raging possible Russian dictator, possible back-end Hitler that's going to wipe out the majority of the country.
Yeah, but there's less and less of them, they're dying off them folk, aren't they?
But when you keep pointing the finger at certain people and then going, possible bad thing...
Possible bad thing alert!
And then it may start, and you get some people that just do the stupid and just listen to it and just go ahead on with it.
Well, I suppose they'll listen to sort of whatever they hear, a lot of people, won't they? So it will be handy, these debates coming up, and also the slight, like the BBC has to be a little bit more unbiased, don't they? They have to show stuff a lot during the election from each thing, which normally they don't show anything from Labour. They just tell you something about Labour or what somebody else has said about Labour or some other bollocks. But they've got to be a little bit more, they've got to give equal airtime to both parties to an extent.
Yeah.
And to the minor parties as well, they've got to give fair airtime. So we're going to see more pushing of the left-wing ideas in the mainstream media. So hopefully that messaging will get out to a lot of people who are of that persuasion, who perhaps are easily swayed, Perhaps there's some, I'm not talking about people who are extreme in their views, people who are extreme in their views aren't going to change. Like, I'm extreme hippie. There's some people that are extreme racist. Like, they're not going to change their minds. But I think some of the ones in the middle who are like, well, fuck, the NHS is getting a pretty bad time of it, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, people only get, no one's going to miss the NHS until they're actually missing it.
And then they are going to miss the shit out of it.
Yeah, it won't come back after that point. You just end up with some regurgitated constant stream that comes out like happens in the US constantly.
They'll drag it out though over here, they'll drag it out by doing things like price matching on pharmaceuticals, funneling extra funds into the NHS to pay private companies, and they'll keep throwing loads of money at the NHS, and it'll keep struggling, and it'll keep, because they won't, none of that money will go towards the NHS. It'll all, well, a large chunk of it will go to Big Pharma
Yeah.
in the US. You know what I mean? Paying for these drugs, and you bleed it like that, and
Yeah.
all the people using it suffer for that. The people who work for it suffer for that, and that's not what we need at all. Like, that would be fucking awful. That would be right-wing dystopia, really, for anybody who needed to go to hospital, which could be anybody, you know?
Yeah, and sort of thing, most of the people that are turning their nose up being like, oh, I don't need the NHS, fuck the NHS, are the people that aren't bearing in mind that they aren't invincible, and as much as most of us haven't had a broken bone in your entire lives, possibly.
The world's so
or had to
safe
go into
now.
And so, well, you think how many people haven't had to go into hospital for certain levels of sickness. And
Yeah.
the only time they ever end up in hospital is possibly a relative who is past the prime, but is suffering from something, or it's cancer related. We don't take into mind the fact that the NHS is a godsend. That if they lose one day when they get hit with that situation, they are just going to go, I chose to get rid of this,
Yeah. Now I'm going to have to refinance my house.
and now I'm going to have to start, cooking crystal meth.
Would have been a short show in the UK, Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
One way or the other, They could have gone to show how deprived the NHS is.
Oh, I imagine it would be Breaking Bad. It would be more like Breaking BHO, to be honest.
But I bet if you like,
It took a second.
if you go to the NHS, though, it is full of a lot of hard-working people that are really overworked, and will, because of that, sometimes be stressed and tired, and won't be
Yeah.
operating at the level they could be, but who are there trying to do the work.
Yeah.
We need to fund that properly. And there's lots of Labour pledges. Well, they're not pledges yet because the manifesto's not out, but they've been saying stuff about helping nurses and bursaries for people to train to be nurses because there's so
Yeah.
many job vacancies. Because there's less European staff. I think that's what's creating it at the moment, as European people sort of leave.
Well, yeah, when you got when you've looked at a vote that said half the percentage of the country hates you,
Yeah.
you don't fucking feel welcome.
Yeah,
anymore,
and that's
you know?
repeated throughout, it's
Yeah.
bad, it's really drilled in there. Bad old messaging by the BBC. I think it's interesting seeing the way that it's eating itself, the machine, like, the banks are all shitting themselves, and...
Yeah, I suppose it's just the upside that the way the machine has worked since its inception has mainly been on the fact that the lower end of the population were less informed, and now that information is a lot freer and it's everywhere, and it's harder to get away with lying. It's also harder to get away with doing something stupid, it coming up on the news on the TV, and people forgetting, because once it's online, it's saved. My Facebook memories, I enjoy my Facebook memories because I've gone through so many situations where I used, like, between elections and stuff popping up, I've been one of them guys who's been like, bah, sharing these links off of stupid things happening, and you go on your memories and it refreshes you. You go, oh shit!
the horrors.
Yeah. Boris Johnson did get called out on having multiple affairs with his wife, who's now split up with him prior to when he was going to run for his premiership, for his prime minister, and all these things did come up, like say him returning home from a overnight stay in a friend's castle in Italy as foreign secretary, where he basically he refused to have security go to, he'd been invited to a party at a friend's house, like a friend's castle in Italy, refused to have an escort or security details, so got on a plane to Italy and then flew back the next day, and during his waiting time while he was at the airport, people were like, oh shit, it's Boris Johnson, taking selfies with him, looking proper dishevelled like he slept in his suit.
What kind of party was that? We can't say anything about what kind of party that was legally because we weren't at that party.
But
So,
upon landing the plane landing at said airport, I'm assuming Heathrow, maybe Gatwick.
Maybe a nice little private spot somewhere.
I know, it was public.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because from the photo I looked at, it was a public one, and the police came and picked him up from the fucking bottom of from the landing strip, like stairs rolled up. Get the foreign secretary off, get him back into security detail.
He's such a wet sponge of a thing, isn't he? He just sort of, I'm here.
But people's issues with, people like, Jeremy Corbyn and, what's the name from the SNP?
Sturgeon?
Sturgeon, Nicola Sturgeon.
Yeah.
I can't remember who were for Lib Dems and their stuff in the Greens.
Fucking Jo Cox, and she's a cunt.
But, but when
And that's not sexist. I'm just saying she is.
But when it's all like, and then you compare off these people, you never see things floating around about these people doing shit like this before they've even got into a seat of power, and the party were fully aware of how he is.
He's just been useless as a foreign secretary. You know, I mean, why would you put him in charge of your relationships with foreign people? Like, why would you put Boris Johnson in that job? What kind of idiot was that?
I genuinely, well, it was generally, I reckon, the case of he was put in that position just to keep him in the, you're up there in the peaks of things.
Mm-hmm. One of the good seats, one of the good jobs.
Yeah,
top
but he
job.
also strikes me. I remember Boris Johnson's one of these people where he's got his hands in a lot of information, because I still bet when he managed to win over the Queen with this whole suspending Parliament thing, the conversation started with him sitting down, Your Majesty, and then slapping a folder onto the table that read Prince Andrew and sliding it across just after this Epstein stuff, but we're not going to get into.
Do you think that's the big battle being played out there? So which two sides? No, it's not a battle. It's within the system though, that conflict, isn't it? It's a struggle for the top between both the system and the Queen.
Because of the whole, or is it the Magna Carta? Is it the Magna Carta?
Don't know. You have to tell me what about it.
I swear, if I've got the name wrong, I've got the name wrong. Isn't the Magna Carta happened, which basically that took control away from the royal family, so that Parliament were in control.
Yeah, so the Queen's more of a figurehead role.
She's that because of the detail in the Magna Carta, there's prevention of that. The Queen's roles are specific in what she's supposed to be. She's not supposed to be involved in politics. However, she has the say.
She can be. Yeah, she can be, but she's not supposed to say no. And you can still have all that money, of course, dear Queen.
But you've got to be able to go to her and give her a hard enough case for why you want to do things like suspend Parliament.
Yeah.
And I imagine there is a lot of battle in between all this issue between the royal family and Parliament because of that issue.
Well, everyone in that sort of cult of whatever you want to call them is culpable for something. They're blackmailable.
Well,
they've all got dirt on each other that's sinister.
Well,
and if you fucking go against them, they're just like, well, you shouldn't go against me because I've got your shit.
Because when we go when we at another recording, when we have a bit more a chat on about Epstein, there is something about the royal family that I came across about what you were just going on about.
Oh my God, save it for another time.
Yeah,
no, I'm going for a piss,
interesting.
so do it if you want. I'm going for a piss.
Oh, you want me to just like blurt out about it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like we've not heard from you, Twist. I think we've heard about 20 words out of you, Twist, since the inception of this podcast.
That's all I got.
What do you think is going to happen following the 12th of December?
Same shit as what always happens. Nothing's going to change.
Do you think we're going to leave the EU or stay in the EU?
I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
You kind of will do.
Yeah, people are still going to be poor.
Yeah, but you could be poorer.
You're just poor for a different reason, mate. Poor's poor.
Yeah, but there's also poor, and then there's been poor and in a position where you're like, no access to
I'm
healthcare
poor
and
and pissed off at a man in a suit for this reason, or I'm poor because I'm pissed off at a man in a suit for this reason. It's no different.
Oh, did we get some political truth out of Twist there?
I managed to squeeze some lemon juice.
Some sort of coverall. I heard it. It is quite a good. Of course, everything's fucked.
It is, but this is where you just positive.
It's always been fucked, isn't it?
But there are things that are kind of good, like if you look at America where they've legalised and other things like
Don't get
that.
me wrong, I mean...
Progressive, programmes.
I suppose if you look at it as a whole, we're making progressive steps.
Yes, in little...
In a direction I agree with. I don't really know. Probably not, but then again...
No?
Well, I don't know. I'm more interested in the sort of, moving towards the sort of space thing. I have no idea where
Space?
I have no idea where the fucking hell these idiots are going.
Are you going to go to space one day, do you reckon?
No, I don't think I'm ever going to
No?
go to space.
You're going to sign
If
up
you
for
had the
Mars?
opportunity.
Yeah, I'd love to if I had the opportunity, don't get me wrong.
Yeah?
But I have no idea where these idiots in Parliament are going.
I
They're
reckon-
just churning shit round, man. How long have we been cycling this shit, man? A few hundred years now?
What?
just the same dance of politics.
Oh mate, in spits and spats like this current bunch, I like to think of it as like a bunch of families that are maybe at war, and then I don't know what the Liberal thing isn't a family though, but
I don't know. Game of Thrones sums it up pretty well.
yeah, stuff like that. It's quite interesting seeing political stuff like that in drama series and fantasy series.
It's nice because it shows that your average person does still. It's nice to see that there are some folks doing it still.
And the messaging of those at times is, the underdog wins, and the underdog's usually the good guy. If there's an underdog, then it might be the good guy.
Yeah, true, but that is a story and real
of course,
life.
but putting that messaging out into the general public about political topics is a
don't get me
positive.
wrong, I have no interest in politics, but I do like history. And a lot of time you see history, obviously, repeats itself continuously. You'll always see, a reign of terror, followed by a reign of peace and prosperity, followed by a reign of terror, followed by a reign of peace, and that's it. They're two options, mate.
Yeah, that's usually empire building,
that's
isn't
where
it?
you go.
Empire building is misery for one part of the population, and really, everyone else is like, I've got fucking gold! And then, when the table of that turns, it's the other way around, and so it's always... Maybe it's always both, but for opposite parts of the world.
There's always going to be a struggle between the people who want to, control the world, that group of people, and the people who just don't really care. They could give a shit.
And there's more of us.
Yeah. I honestly don't give a shit, man. Just leave me alone and do whatever the fuck you want. For the
but
I'd
like you to do it. I'd like you to not be a cunt if you're in charge.
Yeah,
of doing
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like
Ideally.
everyone should just go off and do their own thing and be whatever. I mean, we need some ground rules. We're civilized folk to some degree.
Yeah.
We need some ground rules.
We can all participate in society, And
I'm no politician, mate. As I said, I've no interest in it, so I'm not going to be able to fix it with what I think my ideas are. I have no idea to fix it.
I'd employ you.
I'd like to live in a world,
you should run on that platform as well.
Yep.
But I don't really care. But I think if somebody's doing it, maybe they should be nice.
Yeah. Just stop being a dick. I don't really care about having power. What's going on?
Far out.
Yeah, it seemed. Yeah.
It's
just
small.
locked, not.
These are small. They're far away.
Yeah.
I can't drink cherry aid, man.
Wow, what's wrong with cherry aid?
It's still. I had some a few months back. It still tasted like my 18-year-old hangover.
There's a glass, sir.
Ah, cheers, dude.
There's a glass.
I'm alright, mate. I got my own swig. I'm good, mate.
Right.
Cheers. Thank you, though.
Viola Cola. Can we edit it out?
That's at my discretion, sir.
That's just going to be the intro, man.
So yeah, we'll not move on to any American nonsense.
Yeah, they're my things.
Back to the UK. What's going on? What's going on in the news at the minute? It's all fucked up. Conservatives aren't going to win. I think this might even be an opportunity to really try and wipe the Conservatives off the map as far as possible. Maybe get them down to third biggest party.
Hopefully Boris Johnson could cause that much disarray. I know that a lot of diehard Tory supporters have already wavered because of some of the shit, because they just don't trust.
Did you see that question the other day where she was like, "What makes you relatable, Boris?" And he went, well, I think the best answer I could give to that question is, I've had a very happy life.
That was quite a good impression.
That was I wanted to do that justice because it was that fucking bumbling and ridiculous. Like, he immediately was like, "I'm not relatable. What kind of BBC reporter has been authorised to ask me what makes me relatable?
Yeah.
Like, why was I not given notice of this? What the fuck?"
Yeah.
You know what? It kind of spins on at me, and I'm going to call this out because one day it'll kick me in the arse on social media because of how stuff shared back. So I'll own up to the fact. Years ago, I was a fan of Boris Johnson.
Because he was fun.
He was fun, he was whimsical, he was a bumbling, harmless moron. He was mayor of London. Obviously, he did some good things in London.
Yeah.
You can't scoff on that. But do you second guess now whether or not most of these things were his ideas and whether or not somebody else put the stuff forwards and he ended up robbing off of it, because he strikes me as that level of person. Though, He does appear to have quite a passion about buses, which is why he probably sorted the transport system out. But
Yeah.
again, he was a lovable, nice, funny person, because it was around about the time people were like, oh, Jeremy Clarkson for Prime Minister and stuff like that. Not so much now, but it's that kind of realm of time, and he was whimsical, he was funny, he was a laugh, like, that man's a legend, you know. When he got declared in as Mayor of London, he felt the podium to give his, you know, his first speech as Mayor of London and stuff. He was a bumbling moron who just turned out to be the most dangerous man to enter politics.
Yeah, now he's going to like the NHS and everyone's just staring daggers at him and booing him while he's walking through the hospitals. You know what I mean? Like, a huge percentage of the population are really fucked off with the Tories. And I think if that can be mobilised, although I think that'll contain a lot of people that don't vote, a lot of people that are like, fuck all of that noise, you know what I mean? I think there will be a lot of people in that feeling like that because the government's just fucked them in that bracket. But I think it'll still contain a large amount of people that'll alter the vote, especially the young people.
Trouble in Novik, it wasn't that long ago, there was a photo put up of some pro-Tory students. They're only known as pro-Tory because they were part of the Tory party or something at the said university that went on a night out dressed in scrubs and stuff, and they had like fuck the NHS written on, things like that, which puts you in the mentality, the fact that they've got that from somewhere, which is most likely their parents, which then is worrying that there is also that undertone mentality of people.
Yeah, there is that thing in family, isn't there, in that certain circle where kids are raised in the same sort of like, don't if you ever feel bad about anything, you know, just don't worry, it's only peasants. Yeah. It's fine. We need to make sure that we survive and that we keep hold of the things that we've got. They're just peasants. And we're getting robots pretty soon, we probably don't need them for very long. If we can just, you know, avoid having them use pitchforks toward us, then we'll be alright until the robots get here.
We just gotta hope that people start seeing through some of the bullshit that gets posted up and get past this idea where they go on about like Jeremy Corbyn being terrorist sympathiser and stuff. I'm not being funny, but when your class is being a sympathiser or a terrorist, in order to be able to defeat your enemy kind of thing, you have to be able to understand the reason why they're pissed off.
Yeah.
And in order to go, well, this is the reason, this is the problem, this is the reason these terrorists are causing terror. This is what has happened. This is why. Not a case of they're doing it for the sheer hell of it to get the point across for some reason. It's just you've pissed off a group of people enough that they've banded together and are killing themselves to make a point of something.
And at least some of them have, you know, like it's not like everyone's like, oh, fuck them all. It's like, no, there's so few people that are actually terrorists compared to, you know, how many people there are in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a small group of people that have, I imagine, been really fucked off, like you say, by a bomb dropping on the family or whatever, or something that's happened in their neighbourhood where they come from. You've
got to be pretty, you know, I mean, you've got to be either really damn serious about something or, you know, ill.
Yeah.
To kill yourself. Yeah. And I mean, regardless of how many people you bring down with you, whether it be just on your own or bringing a mass load of people, you've got to be one or the other.
The Middle East is completely turned against the West at this point, because if you think about what's going to happen in 10 years' time, you've got maybe not millions, possibly millions of orphans now.
Yeah.
Who've lost their families, who've lost brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Who witnessed that they dragged half the little brother's carcass, or they saw their week-old baby brother die from like dust and everything else and shit, or starvation and shit in their home country, in like full fucking like cities and stuff.
Yeah.
In 10 years' time, these kids are gonna grow up and they're still gonna be pissed off about everything that's happened to them. In 10 years' time, there's gonna be another wake of problems.
Unless there's some serious political movement away from those types of things.
Yeah, to give them justification to go, something's changed dramatically in said country. I'm no longer pissed off with these people anymore because the people who were causing the problem have been outed and ousted.
Which you have like in someone like Jeremy Corbyn, who's been anti-war for a long time, and you know everyone now knows that the Iraq War was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everybody knows there was no weapons of mass destruction. There was a lot of lying, and like people think, oh well, that's just a thing. Like That was a whole war. Like loads of people died. Like
unfortunately as well, like because of Tony Blair, it besmirched the entire Labour Party, which made them look like the bad guys for it. Where Tony Blair was just a Tory, who was in the wrong party.
And the establishment was still quite rooted inside the party to a degree as well. You know, it was a choice of the two of the same party with slightly different things. And Dennis Skinner. Dennis Skinner's always been, you know, out of that establishment, and so is Jeremy Corbyn.
And it's just 8 days of that's maybe what needed to happen. Eventually, someone had to get to the top of the party that had a very different fucking mindset to what has generally been the case. No longer the status quo. A lot of the diehard people of the status quo got pissed off and protested and left. And this has happened and that's happened. You know, lack of allegiance across the party. And it's just literally because people are falling out with the fact that you've got somebody who's not of the status quo, who's got to the top of something, who's shaking things up a bit.
A man with an allotment is trying to be the Prime Minister, you know?
It's just like, and other countries have managed to achieve this, where, was it the Philippines or Indonesia, where it was like the world's poorest president?
Oh no, it's, I think, is it, no, Uruguay?
Possibly Uruguay, yeah.
I think,
It was some, like...
Paraguay, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, South America, actually, I think in South America, it was South America, one country around there, something where, this... declared as the world's poorest president because he didn't take anything back from the country. He just did his job and he cycled around on his bike and stuff.
Yeah, he lived a dead low income lifestyle, didn't he? And didn't need the money. He just did
what was right for the situation.
Yeah, he's just got like I've got my house and my work pays my bills and for my food and.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there are people out there doing it. It'd just be very interesting if the UK managed to get to the front of it in terms of the really developed major players.
Yeah.
On the world stage.
It would be a lot better if the the ruler of the country lived as the poorest of his country or her country.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, if you look at Gaddafi, he said that housing should be a human right, and that he would sleep in a tent or something until everyone in his country had a house. And he did, and he'd go to the UN resolutions.
Spend in a tent?
Hey?
How long did he spend in a tent?
A few years. I think he was in there for a long time.
What, everyone got housing?
They had massive uplifting housing. I don't know if it exactly came through.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that it'd be housing as such as we describe it, but
no. If you've seen what we do with these units that we have now, these living units.
I haven't really seen them. I've heard about them, but I haven't seen them.
I saw some. It's just like office buildings where they turn it into little things, and then like families and kids and stuff. Yeah. And all this temporary homing in caravan sites and stuff for kids, like. Pretty
I'm not sure what they're going to be like, though.
Hey?
I'm not sure what they're going to be like.
No, they could be pretty good.
I mean, there's doing something and there's doing it properly.
Not done properly. So
No, I don't imagine it. I imagine it's the cheapest possible thing they could possibly have got.
It's like this affordable housing malarkey, where they're like, oh, we're going to build new homes, and like for a 3-bed semi, it's going to cost you like 350, 400 grand. And everyone's like, well, that's not affordable, is it?
No.
And they're like, no, but we're building affordable homes and they cost this much.
And
the build is shit.
It's a shed.
Like, they're shit builds, aren't they? Like, a lot of the houses that are being built at the minute.
They're also building a lot of areas of land that are going to run into a lot of issues.
Yeah,
a lot of areas were released from the green belt, and they're building houses on places that wouldn't have previously. There was a reason no one built houses on them yet.
Yeah,
Queensway.
Yeah, like marshland areas and stuff like that.
Queensway is pretty much, I'm fairly sure it's just water with a bit of soil on top of it. I'm fairly sure that's all it is, and they built like huge houses, like 9-bedroom houses.
Shit.
And like, who's having a 9-bedroom house?
They're like, we wanted to make loads of money.
And they're expensive, and you're like, you're not buying a house. You've got a neighbour literally about 4 foot from you. If you've got that amount of money, you're not gonna want a neighbour that close to you.
Yeah, you're gonna go elsewhere for that.
You're gonna spend your money elsewhere.
Yeah.
Just because there is that option. But
it is mental, and they're just shit quality. Like, they've got toilets stuck on with silicone and stuff, and.
I just remembered something else that I read recently, and it was something Boris Johnson came out with, and he stated that he wanted to create a second industrial revolution that was built around built around Britain becoming one of the leading countries and having a technological revolution.
This just shows how out of touch he is, because we're on the 4th industrial revolution.
Where is
at the minute.
Labour?
The third and fourth.
Yeah,
you know.
Labour are going about current issues and stuff. He's just going about shit to just try and boost business around the country.
And he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes you'll see it in Rees-Mogg's face when Boris is talking. If you see like Boris, some videos, you see Boris talking in the House of Commons, and Rees-Mogg's like sat behind him. And sometimes you see Boris saying something, you see Rees-Mogg going, oh. Just like, he doesn't go, oh, but you can see him doing that internally.
Yeah.
And then like he'll be depressed for a little bit, but just the panic on his face is fantastic. He didn't run, I don't think, because of Brexit. He was like, no, it's going to be a shit show, I don't want to be blamed for that.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Corbyn versus Mogg this time round, but I think it'll be the next election when Mogg will come back, the haunted pencil himself, and run against Jeremy Corbyn in the ultimate Roald Dahl battle of good and evil.
You're right. Kind of looking back at it, you can feel bad for what Theresa May had to deal with, because unfortunately she got thrown under the fucking horse, because obviously whoever after David Cameron had to make the decision about what was going to happen with Brexit, they knew they were going to be dealing with a shit show, so they were looking to just throw whoever in there. And Theresa May obviously saw this as an opportunity to get in there, put her hand up, but then met with a situation where she just got destroyed in the long run.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, looking past the fact, obviously, other issues she's caused, whatever to do with what her political views, her aims, what she was doing, the stupid shit she caused, with police cuts and everything. Looking past that stuff, she got thrown into a very stupid situation that unfortunately she didn't manage to be able to handle out, but it's now shown that no one's really in a position to be able to sort it, because no one thought they were going to have to do it.
I bet she thought, did you reckon she thought she could?
Yeah, I reckon
and she was really keen for the job, wasn't she, I reckon?
I reckon she had this idea, she had this set down deal that she had, because the reason she kept pushing it was she's like, it's a good deal, it'll work. But then you get into them situations where obviously suddenly you find out that loads of people oppose everything you thought was a spectacular, non-debatable idea, and everyone's going, actually this.
How did she not know that? Was it because she just didn't tell anyone what she was planning?
I think part and parcel to it was some certain things, given the fact that, let's say, certain politicians have, family life and stuff, where they don't have a partner who's probably like deep in the end of certain things to do with business and stuff. Some politicians do. Power couples, maybe you could call them, because everyone knows the fact that Theresa May's husband
has shares in cannabis.
Yeah, and it's the major cannabis provider to the US and stuff like that. And there's a lot of things suggesting the reason why he had stakes, like her and her husband, as far as I'm aware, had stakes within the fracking industry as well, which is why a lot of the things were happening as far as fracking, because this is the thing, like, obviously there's an ulterior motive as obviously to why she probably
to generate a profit, darling, that's all.
Yeah.
Just to generate some cash,
Yeah. That's what most of them seem to say.
Mama's gotta live, or something.
This is the fucking thing.
Just trying to make some more money. And they don't realise it's more money, more problems.
Maybe it would be a lot better, because David Cameron apparently had a business or something that he was also running, as well as being like an MP up until the point he became the PM.
Yeah, I can't recall the exact thing, but his dad had dodgy financial dealings as well, and passed that knowledge down.
The whole Cayman Island fiasco.
Yeah, have you seen that meme? Do you remember when the Panama Papers came out?
The Panama Papers,
and everyone was implicated in this thing, and absolutely nothing happened. And then there's a little comment saying, actually, the journalist who reported the story was murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Shit, son.
And instead of fucking maybe it needs to be a thing that, because I'm not sure what Jeremy Corbyn does in his private life, whether or not he's a career politician where he has businesses on the side, whatever, but maybe it's about time that the people who, if you were running for Parliament, it's treated like a job. And you got maybe a rule of Parliament, if you're running for Parliament, you can't have anything else on the side. You have to be pure government or not, and it's a job. That's what it's supposed to be. You're not moonlighting anything else.
No.
If you own, you can't be in ownership of a company or anything like that.
You've got to have your free time though.
Yeah.
So you can do your allotment and whatnot,
But the sort of thing, remove anything that can possibly taint what's going to happen happen while you're in government.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't personally try and aim things. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're then going to get the issue of certain people might want to get into the PMship and then set themselves up there after they've peaked their government job and left.
You could even do, instead of paying them wages, pay them money they can spend on their food shopping. You know, like a food bank kind of arrangement, like
Yeah.
food bank tokens. You know, give them tokens to... So they're not trying to pool money on top of things. So they're like, no, I want to do this,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do it so long as, you know, I can get on with my needs and stuff, and I've got some time for my jam, whatnot, to do, you know. It does feel like quite a historic vote as far as votes go. As far as, like, the importance of a vote goes, which isn't as far as, like, the importance of war or something, or, you know, bigger things.
All this effort to
Goddamn
not
cat.
make background noise with carrier bags and stuff, and then there's a cat now climbing over everything.
Yo, cat.
Well, not really appropriate to be rubbing your pussy in front of...
No one can see.
Biggest shit show in the world, all this stuff that's going on. It's just how it is, isn't it?
It's true, but that's not the country that we're talking about this evening on the election special. It's not about Brexit. It's not about drug policy.
There's too many people swayed in by this whole just wanting to get Brexit over and done with.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna they're either gonna vote Conservative, or whoever they were gonna vote for is telling them to go vote for Conservative, or if this Brexit party is up on the general election for possible election, the majority is going to end up... there's going to be no majority. The Conservatives are going to then create a coalition with this fucking Brexit party.
Oof.
We're going to just... things are going to collapse in, things are going to get worse, and then a couple of years down the line, everyone's going to have a hindsight issue. But by this time, fucked.
I think if it doesn't go well this time, there's some big troubles coming further down the road.
Yeah.
But I also think it might just work this time.
I think the Conservatives are going to get in power. They're going to collapse the economy for their own selfish gains.
See, I think whichever way it goes, what you've got to remember is the Conservatives aren't necessarily in charge of crashing the economy. I think whichever way this election goes, whether we get Boris or Corbyn, they will try and crash the economy. It's been like nearly 10 years now. Like another financial crisis would be quite handy. While the market's already at the tipping point now. If you cause it, because the best time to invest, if your money's somehow solid, is to do it after the crash, immediately after the crash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you get the really low stuff.
Well, yeah, once the crashes happen, it can't get any further down.
Yeah.
That's
No.
the lowest.
Yeah. So I think whoever wins the election, that's good. That they're going to try and do that. Now, either you're going to have Boris Johnson, who'll just funnel huge amounts of tax revenue over to the banks.
Yeah.
Or you've got Jeremy Corbyn, who might look at the way Iceland did it, you know, the way that protest countries have done it, and be like, well, actually, maybe the people who did that should go to jail, you know. And then if anybody wants to pick up that debt, they should talk to them. We've got them in jail for you, you know, if you want to get that debt.
Or you're thinking about it as a bit of an off thing, crash the economy, and if certain things like rail line companies fall on their arse, or telecom network companies, then the government swoops in after
Holy
borrowing
shit.
a chunk and buying it all back again.
Like financial Hunger Games.
Renationalise everything.
I think, you know, for some things, it is a good idea, and then any money generated is surplus rather than intended for, and it goes to the functioning of the society.
I imagine if people were given an idea of a rough sum of stuff and then go, right, you spend this much on trains per year and this is your main fucking source of how you travel. If you take into estimation that account and then we up your tax by this amount per month, whereas say you aren't paying as much on trains now because we've upped your tax, if we nationalise the railways and you're no longer having to pay for fares to go to places, you can work at further places, like you can work at places in another city, get there and back a lot easier, there's no cost involved, it's all nationalised and public owned. Taxes have to be a thing, unfortunately, because there's no way to have public services without
I like it, I don't mind chipping into the community pot. I don't like when it's spent on bombing people to get oil off of them, but...
If you could have a choice where your taxes went, I feel like that would be an appropriate thing.
That would be appropriate. Just a little form you fill in with your tax return.
Yeah, just because this is where I want my taxes to go. So
Yeah, 30% this, 30% this.
Yeah, you've got to send a certain percentage. That
And then-
percentage is worked out for you, and you go, this is how much you need to give. And then you go, right, well, this is how much I want to give, and this is how much of this I want to give to this, this, and this.
And then the military would collapse unless the very rich people who need it in order to stay at the top of society funded it properly through their taxes.
Yeah.
You know, they still
Yeah.
wouldn't have to go there themselves, but at least they'd have to pay for it.
Well, for the best part as well, removing a lot of the unnecessary flipping things that they do as far as development within the military.
Yeah.
I don't stand. I think Trident is stupid, and I back the fact that Jeremy Corbyn has said in the past about scrapping Trident.
Oi. Yeah.
Because we've sunk X amount of £1 billion into building these several submarines that fire these £1 billion Trident rockets that have the ability from one rocket to wipe out an entire country because of the amount of missiles that the warheads, the amount of missiles with nuclear warheads on them that are released out of one Trident missile is enough to take out possibly every major city within one country. One rocket. And they're basically going, oh, it's a deterrent.
Yeah,
Right.
we're not going to use it, we're just swinging our dick about.
It's just fucking... it's stupid. The deterrent shouldn't have to be, we've got a bigger bomb than you, because that's when you get the tipping scale. Because then somebody else wants to build a bigger bomb, and then you end up with the exact same issue that happened in the Cold War, where Russia builds a bomb that's too big, and everyone goes,
It's like
hang on.
It's the ultimate expression of violence, and violence never stops anything. It just creates a violent reaction in the future.
Yeah.
Like nothing actually stops. There's actually a continuing chain of. There's
Even
going to
the
be a
US,
reaction
when
to
they were
that.
doing the hydrogen bomb test, set one off, it was too big, and even they went, we probably should
Yeah.
be bigger than that.
And someone's like, "There are islanders," and they're like, "Oh, we knew."
Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of stupid. I mean, sort of things. There's other things the money can go towards. That at the end of the day, you need a military, and then the day that you don't have a military, you'll end up needing them. It's like that's fair enough.
Yeah, I can understand that, but they shouldn't be out there just doing some shit to get some oil.
Yeah, and at the same time, you don't even give them the appropriate support after they've gone over and lost limbs and everything else.
Don't even particularly give them massive guns unless somebody's actually trying to attack the country, you know.
I imagine Labour would be the resolve off that, because stepping back in, you've got a party that's got past shame and caused this issue.
And then you have got issues then with potential coalitions, like if it's not a majority Labour, which is possible. If you've not got the majority Labour there, then and there's coalition, they might not be able to go quite as radical as they want to because of the coalition.
Yeah.
But at least they'll be trying to go radical, you know, even if they are in a coalition. At least that'll be the driving force rather than something that's attached to it. Like the Lib Dems will be the small part, and they'll be the big part. They probably wouldn't team up with the Lib Dems. Oh, no, I think the Lib Dems wouldn't team up with them.
No, this is the thing. I imagine
the
Lib Dems have got more chance of teaming up with Labour because this is the thing. Brexit.
Yeah, the Brexit thing does force it, and it's fucking it all up, man. Farage and Brexit and all this is making the system creak and crack. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like Howl's Moving If Howl's Moving Castle is the establishment, it's like collapsing quite a lot inside, and it's lurching about and. All these different bits of it, it's eating itself, you know? Capitalism is eating itself.
Angers me to no end that Farage is the fucking end and cause end of all this issue. It lies with him. Him and David Cameron as well, because David Cameron created the coalition thing with UKIP.
Yeah.
And part of the thing that as David Cameron owned up to was the fact that he told UKIP, he agreed with UKIP, we will hold a referendum on the EU. As part of you joining as a coalition towards the end of his premiership. Farage has called him out on it, and then has forced this all through. David Cameron has already come forward about his shame on the situation, which is part and parcel, I think, to the fact that he ducked out because he didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I give the man credit that he at least came forward and has hung his head in shame about the situation.
I mean, and let's not forget, you know, everyone always gives him a hard time, and they're mean about him. And they're terrible, but let's not forget that he did fuck a dead pig's head. Yeah, let's not forget that. He is also a sexual deviant of some kind.
He's just one of them. He's one of them.
Didn't he forget his daughter in a pub as well?
Yeah.
He forgot his daughter in a pub.
He was one of these status quo, like English university version of a fucking frat boy.
A Boris Johnson, a Rees-Mogg, yeah.
All the same things, they're all part of the same club.
I bet Boris was bottom though. I bet he's really angry about that.
Yeah.
He was definitely bottom in that bunch of them, wasn't he?
And
they're always taking the piss out of him. Oh, Boris, go and do this. And then he'd go do it and they'd be like, and throw a peasant at him or something.
I imagine he is quite a spiteful person.
I reckon, yeah.
You know, it says a lot about Boris Johnson. His family have turned their backs on him because of his political views.
What's his real name again? It's something mad, isn't it?
Who, Boris Johnson?
Boris Johnson, it's like Saint Boris Ivel de Pefferson
Something
or something. Yeah, he's got a really weird proper name.
Hey Siri, what's Boris Johnson's real name?
Alexander de
Boris
Pefferson.
Johnson was born Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson.
Boris Johnson.
Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson.
Fair enough.
Pfeffel.
But still, I find it funny that prior to it, while he was after the foreign secretary shit, after all this scandal was happening about him doing stupid shit as a foreign secretary, his family kept popping up on all these, these reality TV shows because his dad was on.
Hunted.
His dad was on Celebrity. What was it? I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of there.
Was he on that too?
His sister was on. I only know this because my missus made me watch this shit. His sister was on Celebrity Big Brother. These two people that you wouldn't particularly ever think would ever need to be on these things because reality TV is generally used as a stage for people who have got no career and are trying to make a comeback.
Yeah.
Or they've been
All people that nobody knows.
Yeah, or as is this situation, he got sent in to try and shed a better light on the Johnson family because they were all career politicians. And, little Boris was trying to get up a bit further in the world, but public opinion was already down on him. And now look where he's at.
Somehow he's fucking bumbled his way into the prime ministership. He just went, oops, shit!
That's generally just because the party went, it's either him or Jeremy Cunt. Who got more control of Boris. Boris is a bit easier to lead on.
Yeah. I think, though, there's been an element, perhaps, of them trying to keep, Boris, because he's bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, no, don't let him actually do it, though. You know what I mean? Don't let him actually do it. And I reckon he's done some devious shit in the lead up to the last election.
Yeah.
And he did it the last time as well, probably. To try and get the premiership. I think he's a dastardly little bastard sometimes. I reckon he's, what happened? Before Theresa May got elected leader, she lost that dossier on all the paedophile stuff, didn't she?
Yeah.
So Boris has done some shit to become Prime Minister. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
and Jeremy Corbyn has just accidentally won an election. Nobody was looking at that election where he won to become the leader of the party.
Yeah.
Wasn't being covered, nobody gave two hoots, and just quietly an allotment jam maker was given the title of candidate for Prime Minister,
The man who makes every other politician in the entire establishment look bad.
Oh man, they're just a shit sandwich. Pretty much all of them. There's a couple. Dennis Skinner. I like Dennis Skinner. He's a good lad. Mahari Black from the SNP.
Yeah.
She doesn't take no shit. She's the youngest MP ever. I need a piss. All this cherryade. Right to my head.
Do
Do you want to whisper bite?
Do I want to whisper? Yeah. Oh shit! What's that doing now?
Cheers, man. Mid-podcast snack.
Yeah.
So, Twist.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually register to vote?
No.
Why did you not register to vote?
I have no interest in voting.
Have you no interest in the fact that you could possibly end up... You have no interest in the fact that this general election could possibly decide the future fate of this country moving forwards? So, you're happy to just take it on the chin, whatever happens?
Pretty much, man. Been pretty much taking it on the chin for, all my life, so yeah.
But in a way, you've got your own party. You got there. I won't vote because I don't have any interest in what's going on party. So you're kind of like say, me personally, you classify yourself as being the hippie, more of a what?
Yeah.
Well, who's your preferred party out of the things?
Right now,
Yeah.
in England, it's Labour. Well, yeah, it's Labour.
So you'd be voting for Labour.
Yeah.
Right. But overall, as a person of political following,
I'd go further.
Who say if Labour weren't on the table and so it's a general election where there wasn't going to be a major thing decided, who would you generally usually vote for?
Well, I would always be inclined towards Labour, but I would usually go Green or something if possible.
Fair enough.
Because Tony Blair was a cunt. He was one of the cunts, he was part of the group, part of the establishment.
Me personally, I don't trust any of them. I don't lie. I don't have 100% trust for Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah.
I'd feel stupid if I was putting all my trust behind a particular party. Because I'm not going to lie to the fact I have voted for the Conservatives in the past.
Yeah.
But that is post-war shit of going,
right.
fuck Labour.
Fuck Labour because they did a war. Yeah.
So I immediately voted for the other party.
Yeah.
Out of this entire situation, like say, I don't trust any of the parties. I just particularly vote for whoever puts out the most appropriate policies that time and go, this is who I think is going to fuck me over less in the future.
Who's that this year? Conservative?
Labour.
Brexit? Not Brexit.
Fucking Brexit party. That is Labour, man. You fucking hands down Labour.
It's
going to be less of a headache moving forwards. I imagine that the EU will be nicer with Corbyn than they have been with the Tories.
I think so. I mean, Labour have already been discussing their proposals for what they'd do if they were negotiating a deal with the EU, and they've expressed interest, you know, unofficially, not because neither of them are in a position to negotiate with each other. They were like, if we were doing it, you know, this is probably what we'd do. What do you think about that?
Most of the time, most of the time, I don't think people take into account as well the reason why shit hasn't moved forwards and why MPs are all voting against it. Most of the deals isn't particularly for the fact they're doing it to be difficult. It's because they're looking at what's been put forwards and
in horror
going, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea and it's going to fuck everybody over in the long run.
And normally, if you had a weak opposition, then that wouldn't matter too much. But you've got very strong opposition in Labour that, you know, is putting challenges in front of the government and succeeding in blocking them. Yeah. 9 out of 10 times. You know what I mean?
Within the deal of like this whole Brexit deal thing, they're going to know they want to do this as part of their deal. But I know that if they're the only reason they want to do this is for a very negative reason, I don't think we should go forwards because of that particular reason. But it's not something I can say publicly because the restrictions of what you can really get away with saying in Parliament restrict me from going. Yeah. I don't want to vote for this because this is what you're planning. Because then you're accusing somebody of something that's going to go, no, it's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, you can't accuse someone of lying, can you? In Parliament, you can't. I remember seeing someone do it, and the speaker was like, "Sir, you must retract that statement. I don't believe you intended to call him a liar, but it sounded a little bit like you did."
Order! Order! Order!
Private speaker now, eh?
I'm going to miss Berko.
He seemed a good enough lad. Again, he seemed to sort of stumble in when no one was interested and actually shake stuff up.
It is
I'm in favour of shaking.
He sits there unfucking tated, considering he was a Conservative. And yet he sat there untainted and just played the neutral party through the muddle of all his bullshit and stayed fucking neutral out on it and has just been holding forward the best interest of the country. He seems to be the only person who's in a direct position of control who is
kind of the best interest of the institution as well, like allowing a broader swathe of people to really make stuff happen in Parliament.
It's funny to think though that this is the general election that is basically going to decide everything moving forward.
Yeah.
Just have to say.
I think it's really, really tough to call. Because if you look at last election and what people thought was going to happen, Twist, do you remember? Everyone was like, "Oh no, Labour won't get any seats." What? No, not one seat. Not one seat will they get, Labour. And then they got loads. They got a whole bunch. They got like a high amount for an election. They didn't win, but they got a high amount. Oh. So if they just do that again, they'll win, hopefully. If they manage to do the same thing again, the same improvement, then they might get it.
Maybe.
And then we can have a party or something, you know.
I know, sadly enough, people are going to vote.
Do you reckon?
They always do.
That is true. I think
keeps the machine ticking on.
Yeah, it does. Well,
the illusion of power to have a choice on it.
Yeah, it is like a little passover for the next moment. But I do think we might have a radical in charge at the moment, you know. I think we might have the Labour Party. Bit of a radical.
I don't think they're Labour. I don't think they're any political government that we're aware of.
I don't think that many people in Labour are that way on.
No, I don't think the person or people's in charge are any political thing that we're aware of.
Okay.
I don't think any of it matters.
It certainly, you know, it doesn't have to matter. You know, I suppose it can either matter or not. You know, you can either choose to be outside of it or choose how you interact with reality. You know, and and politics and the weather, reality, society, all those things. I'm more of a fan of the counterculture than the culture usually. Historically,
The only thing that's going to possibly sort it out is going to be some spare reason for speciesism, such as an alien invasion. It's the only time everyone's ever going to band together.
They'll be united behind. Everyone will be united against the threat. Common threat. That's what Thingy said, wasn't it? Who said you needed an enemy image for the state to function? Some guy, some famous guy.
Everyone has to be focused on one particular
enemy. Yeah.
And that's the only way that everyone bands together. And when you've got such multiculturally mixed countries, like you feel bad for all the Europeans that are in this country right now and are fucking stuck in this situation. Again, deciding vote on the 12th.
Yeah, I mean, what influences are those EU nationals able to vote here? That was nearly added, wasn't it?
Was it?
The opposition tried to sneak it in like that 16 to 18-year-olds could also vote and EU nationals living in the United Kingdom could vote. They tried to put that on as an amendment to the election bill.
Yeah.
But John Bercow wasn't in. There was a different person acting as speaker and they didn't allow it to be added to the motion. Yeah. Because that would have changed the vote dramatically, I think.
Oh yeah, because then all the people who are still remaining, like EU remain.
Yeah, they go for Remain in one form or another. Probably majority of them Labour, just because that's the shape of
them just knowing
political
the fact
landscape.
that they're going to still be cut, like they're going to be allowed to be part of the country after said thing if they survive the cut.
And 16 to 18-year-olds are fucked off about all sorts of shit because they've had no youth services since like 2010. You know what I mean? Like everything's been cut to the bone since then.
Yeah.
And they've just grown up in that, and they're like, the majority of them anyway. It's like the old prisoners versus guards. Like there's more of us than there is of them.
Yeah.
Sort of thing,
But yeah, that doesn't seem to take enough hold. You know what I find interesting? That there was a thing. There's been a bit of a cult following that's occurred since the release of Joker.
Oh, I've still not seen it.
Riots, protesters have started going out dressed as clowns.
Alright.
Because there's been people are starting to relate. People are relating to events that happen within, like in the movie, and relating to certain things and stuff, and it started getting a cult following.
I think I might have seen a picture of someone actually dressed like that at a protest.
Yeah, it started picking up more and more of a trend, and it would be interesting if it got to the stage where, just because of this one movie by Martin Scorsese, that the next major possible Million Man March, which is an accumulation of just a mixture of every person from around the country, descends on the Capitol.
As jokers.
Yeah, dressed in clowns to make a bold statement.
Yeah, about mental illness being an appropriate reaction to a mental fucking world, a mental system. Like it being a totally expected result of being treated like cattle.
Yeah. Maybe if there is major protests following on, the Conservatives somehow stealing the power, the main hold for the general election. Maybe if there's protests, suddenly you'd get people popping up like clowns like that.
Yeah.
I hope that people manage to refrain from rioting so that the protest sticks and you can't shift things.
Yeah, it needs to be protest, not riot. Riot's just the sort of scare language that the media use and stuff, really.
The problem is as well, riot also gets stirred up by the police during the process.
Yeah, you got your agprovs, haven't you, in there.
Well,
hey up, lads, do you think, has anybody got bricks?
The London riots, someone photographed a group of lads that were smashing stuff up, who have been photographed at other riots around the world, where they just look very extremely similar to this particular group. And who's to say that it isn't a case of, because usually how a riot starts is someone starts smashing shit up, or it just takes one group of people to throw a bin through a shop window and start looting. As soon as that smash, somebody else goes, fuck it, I'm following them in, and then you suddenly hear something go through another window. We
saw the same thing in The Purge, where they documented the first Purge, where nobody was actually going out doing any killing.
Yeah.
And they had to send someone in, an agprov, to go and kill someone to
spear
to get the whole thing started.
Yeah, it takes.
Yeah.
What you push one domino over and the rest just stop.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Danger.
And the police can't go in and disperse the protest forcefully without cause.
Yeah.
If
then
it's
he
peaceful
calls.
and everyone is just stood there doing
Yeah.
nothing, no shouting, if everyone just stood there,
Yeah.
that has more dramatic effect than
Yeah.
anything right-wise ever will do, because that causes fear, and that causes
Yeah.
fear higher up then when they're going, the cattle, they
Yeah.
become sentient and they become
Right.
collective.
Yeah.
You've not got control of it anymore.
You know, if we don't get political revolution though with a political candidate, we are not far from people in the streets being the revolution. Not like violently or anything like that. Just
There's violence, there's just too many imbeciles.
no, it's the ag provs, man. It is the ag provs that stir up the violence. If you keep an eye out for them, and also I don't know, like most of the groups seem to be doing all right in terms of keeping the violence down. Hong Kong aren't, but that was the police first, wasn't it?
Yeah, they started firing tear gas into
But they
the
fucking
restaurants.
bricked them. So do you see that in that school, that university? They fucking bricked all the entrances to this university. Molotov cocktails, fucking behind the bricks, so that if anyone was coming in, you just. And they had just piles of bricks everywhere, so you could just pick them up and chuck them. And the Hong Kong police, the police didn't come in, because if they come in, there is going to be slaughter.
Yeah.
And it's whether they've got the political ability to go through with that or not.
Yeah, because the moment they were already on the world stage as it was at that point
Yeah.
being judged.
Yeah, so I haven't seen today particularly, but as far as I know, they haven't gone in, but they might be going in right now, and it'll be chaos. Chaos. And they've always got like tennis rackets and umbrellas for the tear gas and shit. It's fantastic. Fantastic. But, you know, danger as well. It was a government supporter that was killed as well, wasn't it? After the protester got shot,
Yeah.
another protester got injured, and then a government supporter, they tried to set him on fire, I think.
Right.
But he didn't die. I think that was the response. I'm not sure exactly. But, yeah, it's getting chaotic over there, man. It's getting real. You did.